Fourth time great-granddaughter of Robert and Lucy. Fifth time great-granddaughter of George and Elizabeth and Sally Blagg. Sixth time great-granddaughter of Robert and Ruth Stovall. Seven time great-granddaughter of Nicholas and Bethenna Perkins. I can keep going. Eight times great-granddaughter of Peter Nelson and Agnes Hairston. Nine times great-granddaughter of, and I have to find his first name, Hairston and his wife. 10th of Matthew Hairstains, which is from Scotland. And 11th time with John Hairstains and Gledanes Hairstains.
If you
So,
don't mind repeating those again, because I was recording, I've got to hit record.
oh,
If you don't mind,
all right, y'all bear with me now.
thank you, cousin.
I'm going through years of work here. Okay, my name is Lela Hairston, and I am the daughter of Thomas Hairston and Estella Anderson. I am the granddaughter of Eugene and Gladys Hairston, the great-granddaughter of Peter B. and Lily Hairston, the two times great-granddaughter of Ivy and Viney Hairston, three times great-granddaughter of Noah and Celia, fourth time of Robert and Lucy, fifth time great-granddaughter of George and Elizabeth and Sally Blagg, sixth time with Robert and Ruth Stovall, seventh time with Nicholas and Bethenna Perkins, eighth time with Peter Nelson Hairston and Agnes, ninth time with a Hairston. For some reason, I didn't get a chance to write down his first name, him and his wife, his honey buns. And 10th time with Matthew Hairstains from Scotland. And 11th time with John Hairstains and Gledstains Hairstains is her name, is what I've gotten. So in just a couple of minutes, you just heard me tell you about some of the research that I've been doing ever since I was probably, when we were in school and we do those family tree activities. Back then, I could only trace my parents and my grandparents, and I was hungry. I wanted to know more. I wanted to know who I am. I didn't know my journey would take me 60 years up to, right now, but it's all good. It has been an enjoyable experience. It's something I do, and I don't realize how quickly time goes by. You know what I mean? But we have my parents. I'll say Tom Hairston is from Rockingham County, Virginia, and Rockingham County, North Carolina. That's where his roots are. I've been able to trace my history back to these Hairston plantations. Leatherwood, that's where my Stultz family is from. Berry Hill, Oak Hill, Coolamy, Shoebuckle, Marrowbone, and because of Robert, in Mississippi, in Crawford, Mississippi. So it's my honor and my privilege to share some of this information with you tonight. I'm actually going to break it into two parts, if that's okay with you. The first part, I'll focus on the ancestors. The second part, I was inspired to do this based on what Chad has been sharing the last couple of weeks regarding the data center that's trying to come in over our cemetery and over our Sora Indian land. Okay, so I did some research real quick, and I'll share that in the second portion of our talk. Okay, it's not over. It's not over. I'll share what we can do and some things we need to take a look at. Okay, but first I want to begin by ringing the bell. Ringing the bell was something that was done on to bring us all together, to have us come celebrate, to announce news. And so I'm announcing some news tonight. By the end of the presentation, I hope that by sharing my history and by sharing that data or the links to data, we can become activists in terms of what we can do regarding the data center trying to come in over our land in Sartown. Okay. I want to stay within an hour. So I will do my best. I know some folks have fireplaces they'd love to sit by, maybe have some s'mores and some chocolate or some hot chocolate or, watch a football game or something that might be on. So I want to try to stay within the constraints of that 1 hour. Um, so this is what I'm going to do. When I signed up for this presentation, I wasn't sure what I was going to present. Should I share my family tree or should I focus on a particular branch of the family tree? Should I focus on the migration of my Hairston ancestors from North Carolina and Virginia up into Delaware? Because that's really key. There's a lot that I can share there. Or should I focus on the tools that I use, maybe the books that I really depend on quite a bit? Or should I share the book that I've written that has to do with the neighborhood that we grew up in? That was a major attraction area for those who migrated from as far west as Kentucky and Tennessee, from the south, even areas from the north. We all seem to pocket into this one area for Blacks that has exploded in terms of the historical contributions that they've made here in Delaware. So I might do that another time. I might do that another time. Um, but definitely I was concerned about what happened last Monday at the data center meeting. So I'll focus on that this second part of the presentation. So let me just do this first because no Hairston reunion, no Pete and Lily Hairston reunion is complete without a family feud. Let me see. How do I share this? You got to tell me how to share.
Okay. Dana Lee, can you help us out with this? But I know you can share at least abilities,
What
but
what do I need to do?
So have open what it is you want to share.
Okay, I have it open.
All right. And then find the green share
Oh,
button.
there it is down there.
Yep.
Okay.
Hit share.
Uh-huh.
What will pop up? You can share your desktop
Yes.
or you could share the specific application. It's easier just to share the desktop if you have different things
Okay, I
popping
see
up.
that.
All right. And then hit the blue share button.
Okay, it says open system set. What am I doing here?
Oh, so I gave you a message. What does it say?
It says open system settings.
Are
Uh,
you on a PC?
I am. I'm on a Mac.
You're on a Mac.
Yeah.
Huh. So I'm thinking it's asking for permissions to share.
Oh, is it? I don't know what this thing is doing. It's, oh man.
I
So
haven't set to multiple shares, so I haven't set to that, Dana. That makes sense.
yeah, I checked. I hit the button to make sure I could share. Um,
What can I do? I was,
so when you
uh,
selected,
it says preferences error. It says it could not load security and privacy, something.
yeah, so you have your security settings to prevent you from sharing the screen.
What do I need to do then?
Let's see. Let me find that because
Security? I don't know.
I'm not used to seeing that.
Security and privacy?
Hold on,
No.
Zoom. Are
Try
you
able
on
to
to
security and privacy and see if you can change it to enable it.
Okay, hold on a
Yeah,
second.
it should walk you to it,
Hmm.
but doesn't
Came
sound
up
like it
once.
did.
Hold on a second. All right. Desktop. Uh, Let me try this again. Okay, allow Zoom to share. Now it's still,
Yeah, yeah, if it
That
says
should be
allow.
it.
I just hit it and nothing happened. It brought me back to this. Um, I'm sorry, y'all. I had a feeling this was going to happen.
You are fine.
Well, I usually have a plan B, and I
We'll figure it out in a minute.
do a plan B.
All
All
right.
right, so I pressed share. I'm pushing share now,
Uh-huh.
and it says allow Zoom to share your screen.
So
Open
yes.
system settings. Oh. Okay, open this, and then it says grant access.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, wait a minute. Let's see. Um, where is this? Open system screen. Grant access. I don't see anything on here that says privacy, maybe? I don't know. Let me see. No. Shoot. I'm sorry, y'all.
You are fine.
So, Mom, I'm not really clear on Zoom, but I Googled it and it says like, is there a place where it says system preferences anywhere on Zoom?
My computer?
Yes.
Yes.
So go to system preferences, security and privacy,
Security and privacy. Yes.
screen recording, and then you need to grant access to, yeah.
It doesn't. The only thing I'm seeing is it could not load on the preferences pane.
Mm,
The other thing you can do is email it to somebody and then they can share it.
yeah.
Oh, goodness.
Hi, Shauna.
Hi.
Hey, Shauna.
PowerPoint.
I got my young people with me, so you know I'm trying to help me out, y'all.
Yep.
You're fine. Is it PowerPoint?
No, actually, I'm gonna skip that.
You can, if it's Mac, you can send it to me.
Um,
And I
Yeah,
can open it.
the other thing I was thinking of is if you went to your actual preference, since it's a Mac, if you go
Yeah.
to settings, normally there's a section that tells you like each app. So like if you scroll down to if it's Zoom,
Yeah.
if you go down to Zoom, sometimes it asks you there to
Oh, wait,
grant it
something,
permission with
I
a
don't know what
toggle.
it says sharing. I don't know why sharing box is. Maybe I need to go to extensions, accessibility. I'm so sorry, y'all.
What is
Good.
it you're trying to share?
That's okay. That's okay. I'm not even gonna worry about that. I'm not gonna worry about that. We're gonna move
That's really-
forward. We are gonna move forward.
Okay, my other second solution would be if you had Zoom on your phone and you wanted to join this meeting with your phone, and then you could point your phone at the computer if you wanted to
okay.
see it. That would be another solution.
All
But
right.
yeah, if we're
Let's see. All right, let me see. If I do this, can you see that? Can you see that?
Not yet.
Nope.
Oh, wow.
You're fine.
I just
All
saw something that said Freedmen's Bureau. It was a white little sign, circular sign on the screen.
You saw that when
It's-
I
Yeah,
kept
it's Dana.
That's
All right.
Dana's.
All right.
Oh,
So
okay.
this is what I'm gonna do. This is what I'm gonna do. And oh man.
You're fine.
my email is in the chat.
Oh,
we
wait.
can
Because she can
still,
share it with you too. Because she has the same thing.
well,
Okay.
you, I
or if you
mean,
have a mirror,
what you were
mirror.
doing was okay. Doing what you were doing is okay. Explaining things. That was, I was
Ah,
following you.
well, let me do this. I'm just gonna do something else. I'm gonna do something else rather than worry about
Yes.
what I was gonna share this way. I can just talk it out. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
That's good.
I let me start with this just by saying some of the things that I posted that I had on my desktop to share with you included my family history. So let me I'll talk then. We'll just talk. So my father, Thomas Hairston, is from Eden, North Carolina. Um, and the history that I was aware of when I grew up was that um, he was riding on a bus after school, and he and his friends were communicating with a white female, and the bus driver objected to the conversation that was going on between and the way the kids were talking, black boys, white girl. The bus driver objected to the conversation that they were having, and so when my dad got home that evening, again, we're talking about 16, 17-year-olds, they learned, the neighborhood very quickly learned that the KKK was coming after him. And so the relatives in the neighborhood all lived in Eden along Morgan Road. So there was a grocery store on the corner of their street called Strong's. And so Mr. Strong was the one who got the news that the Klan was coming after my dad. And that's when they put together transportation for him to get out of North Carolina like that to get to the train station. I think Mr. Strong drove him up to one of the maybe DC. I think he drove him to DC, and he caught a bus from DC to get to the Trailways station, which was on DuPont Highway here in Delaware, and that's where his dad picked him up. Okay, and so his father, I guess I am going to talk about migration. So his father, years before, I was going to show you a video that showed all this. So his father was Eugene Hairston. Eugene Hairston was a very skilled craftsman, worked in construction of building homes. When he came here, it was right after there was a building boom down in the Norfolk area for shipyards. So we're talking about 1940, about 1930, 1940. And so then my grandfather heard about a building boom or housing boom that was taking place in Delaware. And so he moved to Delaware, found a house here. He found a duplex here where near Del Castle High School is now. I know my sisters, not my sisters, but my nieces and daughters know this. But they moved into a duplex. They lived on the one side, my grandfather and grandmother and my uncle and dad lived on one side of the duplex. On the other side, that's when all the other relatives who were migrating out of North Carolina stayed until they got on their feet. So that was smart. Okay, that was smart. And eventually, many came up, many of the Dillards, Scales, Moyers, Hamptons, all came up from North Carolina into Delaware and established themselves in the trades here in Delaware. There's a section of Wilmington called Millside. And Millside was where the buildings were going up for those military people coming back from World War II. Again, there was an issue that had to do with housing. And so my grandfather and many of my uncles and cousins built the Millside area, which is still up, which is still, functioning. It's doing quite well. But from then on, many other relatives moved and migrated up into this area. Now we have a who's who of people who live here, who came up from Delaware. I'm just going to name some of the people, some of the Pete and Lily clan that are what I call the who's who's. Okay. So Kelly Starling Lyons, I don't know if you've heard of her. She is an outstanding children's book writer. I highly recommend you look her up and buy a few books for Black History Month or birthdays or anything like that. Ed Starling, he was the coach at Marshall University. And Sherman Dillard is a Hall of Famer here in Delaware in terms of basketball. There were four track stars here in Delaware in the late 1999. Actually, there are five. Late 1999, early 2000s, and they are all state track runners. That's Lynn Hernandez, Gina and Edie Lewis, Candy Harris, my daughter, and Shauna Hairston. They were all track stars here in Delaware. They are who's. Maynard Scales, who is my first cousin, he has established, he was a director of housing here in Delaware and when he moved out to Fort Wayne, Indiana. Deborah Starlings, who is Kelly's mom, she is an outstanding singer. They do reggae music out in Pittsburgh, very well known. We have many that are in military, including Claude Hampton. Okay. Again, we have Sheila Moyer, who was the coordinator of diplomats who worked in Kenya for a number of years. She worked for the government. You may know Jacob Dillard, Reverend Jacob Dillard, who is my grandmother's brother. He's very well known. He was at Sharon Baptist Church in Axton, Virginia. Peter B., who is my great grandfather, actually had a patent. He invented ball bearings that would help move wheels better. And so he did that along with the Hairsons. Of course, he couldn't do it on his own, but he is part of that group who did do the ball bearings and does have a patent on that. We have Lauren Scales. She is an attorney. She's an associate general counsel. She's international. And we do have Elizabeth James, who was the first Marine. She was the first Marine back in the 1960s. So we have a phenomenal group of who's that are part of the Peter and Lily Hairston clan. Okay. I want to share something else. Since I can't share my screen, I'm just going to keep talking. I want to talk a second about my grandfather, Eugene. For a long time, I don't remember the family really getting into depth about Eugene and because he passed. He passed 2 years before I was born. But recently I've been able to pull down a news clipping, which is what I could have shown you if I could have had access to my desktop. But basically 6 people from the North Carolina area who had originally been born in North Carolina or had established themselves in Delaware. They drowned. They drowned accidentally at Lum's Pond, which is not too far from where I live right now. And it sent shockwaves throughout the entire community. It devastated our family in terms of going through sudden grief and loss. What you have to understand about Lum's Pond is that when you look at the map of Delaware and you see where Newcastle County and Sussex County are divided, there's the Chesapeake Canal. When they built that Chesapeake Canal, over 1,000 slaves lost their lives as they were building that canal. Yes, 1,000. And so basically what Lum's Pond is, it's an overflow from the canal. So the currents that come into the canal are very unstable, very swift. They're not predictable at all. As a matter of fact, since so many people had passed at Lum's Pond, they have now prohibited any boating, no swimming, nothing, because it's dangerous. It's pretty dangerous. So again, I look at how grief can hit a family very suddenly. It can hit an entire neighborhood. It can hit an entire community because the shock waves hit all the way down to, the family down in North Carolina. So, yeah, I wanted to share a little bit of that. But once everybody got up here to Delaware, the buildings trades opened. General Motors was established. Chrysler was established. And the banks, DuPont Chemical was here. So jobs and opportunities presented themselves in the from the like 1940s on. Okay. One of the other things I wanted to share with you, I think I'll share with you a recent find that I had. When you hit that brick wall and you're like, God, I can't get through this thing. How in the world, what can I do to get through this thing? And I had been searching for a long time to figure out Celia, I guess she is my third great grandmother. I saw a record that indicated that Celia was from Africa. And it wasn't until this week that I found out a document. So the record showed that Celia came from Maryland in 1815. Okay. So I started searching around using shipping records coming into Baltimore or into Maryland, because it could have come anywhere along the Chesapeake. Okay. So I started looking I kind of narrowed down the dates of, say, 1814 to 1818. What were some of the ships that were coming in at that time? I was able to narrow things down to about 1817, where I looked on the manifest, and that's rare. They rarely put the names of slaves on manifests. In this case, the person, I'll think of his name in a minute, the captain of the ship landed in Baltimore, listed Sillah as the name, and it coordinated within the dates I was looking for. So that was one hint. The second thing that I did was I said, well, who picked her up? What else is on this manifest that will help me? I'm sure she didn't just walk off the ship. And so the name of the person was a Batten, Baten. Now, I had a teacher at high school named Batten. I don't know if they're related or not, but this man named Batten lived in Camden, which is right outside of Dover. And I dug a little deeper. When I dug a little deeper, I found that the Battens were closely related to the Rowlands. Okay. The Rowlands were very close friends with the Hairstons and the Turnstulls. Okay. And I suspect, I don't have 100% proof. Again, as genealogists, we kind of, go with the flow and figure out, put the pieces together. But I found that Mr. Batten was friends with the Rowlands, and there was a Rowland Elizabeth who was married to either Robert or Peter. So based on that, I started looking at more census records that have to do with the Rowlands, the Turnstulls, and the Battens. And it was very, very often that the Hairstons would travel to Baltimore because they had an office there. Okay. And so that was the connection. That's how they made the connection from Batten to Turnstill to Hairston at that time. And then Celia, who was free when she got off the ship, was taken to North Carolina. And that's when Celia married Noah, who was the daughter of White Hairston Robert, whom they called the lunatic because he wanted to free his slaves. I'm not sure whose volume is on. Okay. I think that's okay. Yeah, I think that's who is that? Okay,
I
there
can
we
hear
go.
for you.
Okay, all right, thank you. And so Noah, they identified Noah as a lunatic. Well, not Noah, but Robert. Robert wasn't the lunatic. Robert was the one who said, look, I am against having slaves. I really want to join the American colonization effort to return people back to Africa in Liberia. So he was part of that. You may read about John Blagg, who was also, if you look at the American colonization records, you'll see that John Blagg paid for many of those who were, I won't call them property, I call them, um, I'll think of it in a minute. Anyway, he sent a lot back to Liberia. Okay. And so I look at Celia. I'm glad about Celia. I'm glad about Robert. When I also look at the shipping records, the slave records, slave voyages, there were 6 people that Robert put on the boat called Jupiter that left in about 1832, and they of those 6 people, 4 of them arrived safely. 2 lost their lives along the way. Okay. And I have documentation for that. Not only did they land in Liberia, Monrovia, in March of 1833, but by 1836, I have documentation that shows that they've moved on back to Sierra Leone. Okay. For those who don't know, I think I've shared with you one of the things that was a question of mine. It's continued to be a question of mine is, where am I from in Africa? Can I get back there once I find out? And so I'm very fortunate to have my father, who has now passed away. He passed away in 2012. But in 2007, he and I did the African ancestry DNA test so that I could do the matriclan for my mother and find out what her mother's mothers on down the line, where they were from. But I also did my father's DNA, which showed where his father's fathers were from. 100% accuracy, and I was going to show this to you as well. 100% accuracy. My father is from Sierra Leone, and let me just see. I can see them, but
Knowing is
okay. Hold on. So there he is. He is from the Temne tribe out of Sierra Leone. 100% accuracy. Yes, he's from the Temne, Temne. All right, and my mother's side of the family is from Bioko Island, which is off the coast of Cameroon. It's actually part of Equatorial Guinea, but that's where my mother's side of the family is from. The thing that has inspired me lately is that I have discovered 2 persons from African descent that are 3rd cousins. Now that's close, okay? That's close. I have their names. I'm praying about what direction I'll go with this information to reach out to her and see if there's a way that the 2 of us can meet. I believe she may be one of the 4 or a descendant of one of the four that returned back. That's close. Third cousins is that's pretty close, okay? And so my hope is that we will be able to connect real soon, okay? Regarding my, I found another maternal link who is now living in Maryland. So I will reach out to her as well and see if we can have some conversations about our roots. Okay. Let's see, what else was I going to talk about? One of the things that Georgia Senator Raphael Warnock said was that every success is built on the sacrifices of those who planted trees for shade, but they will never enjoy it. Think about that for a minute. So we're here, we are here because they planted those trees and they weren't able to enjoy the shade, but we're here. There's a purpose for us being here. Playwright August Wilson said, if we want to discover where we belong, we must look at the communities from which we have evolved. Think about that for a minute. I think about the community that I grew up in, Belvedere, where I had tons of cousins. Sometimes there was so many cousins, I was like, get me out of here. In fact, when I graduated from college, that's why I left and said, I'm going to start my future somewhere else. It's too crowded up in here. But when I look back on that community, I had some outstanding teachers. When you think of Brown versus Board of Education, one of the attorneys who sat in and was one that argued the case was from Delaware. He used a case for a young child up in Hockessin. I was the first Black to integrate the white school here in Marshallton. And so that was an experience. That's what I talk about in my book. I talk about my experience, not just in the neighborhood, how important education was, how important church was, how important my dad built 3 of the churches in the community, and how really richly blessed I am to share these stories with others. I kind of see myself as still, blowing the trumpet, ringing the bell, letting folks know there's more to be done. And so that's why I wanted to draw your attention to the second part of my talk. And that has to do with the data center. For those of you who are on the call and you may not know what in the world I'm talking about, I gave some information to Spencer, and he said he was going to put it in the chat. And that will help you continue to become aware of what's going on down there. Okay, so the Saurtown plantation is where Peter and Sal and many other relatives that we are linked to, that's where they lived. It was, for the time, it was an amazing plantation. Running water, electricity, all sorts of stuff. I mean, I think the house had like 3 or 4 different chimneys to keep it warm. I mean, it was just amazing for the time that they lived in. Well, since then, the Hairstons have abandoned the house. I heard that they gave the National Hairston Clan the grave site, the colored grave, the grave site. I don't know if it was deeded to them or just what, and maybe Chad will let us know at another time just where that stands. I did reach out to Robert. I did reach out to who else? 2 other members, Bobby Bell and can't think of his name. It'll come to me in a minute.
Lawrence?
Yes, Lawrence. Thank you. Yes. I reached out to them. Robert did get back with me, but we were playing phone tag a little bit, and so I didn't get my question answered in terms of what the status is in terms of National Hairston Clan owning that property or not. So basically, this is what's going on. They want to the Stokes County commissioners are working. Excuse me. They have there was a petition to take Saratown's land as well as the land of the Sara Indians, where they've already found all sorts of artifacts, well-known artifacts. Well, they voted on Monday, last Monday, 3-2, to allow this Delta group to come in and to excavate all those grave sites in order to put in a data center. Okay. And so my ancestors wouldn't let me sit still. I have been like up every single night. They are just driving me. You got to do something. You got to do something. Okay. All right. So I started to do the research, and what I have found is there is an Article 3 that's part of the North Carolina, where's my notes here? Yes, it's Article 3, section, here it is, Article 3, Chapter 7, Article 3. It's regarding unmarked human burial and human skeletal remains. It's a Protection Act. They cannot do that. Someone needs to, I'm not an attorney. I'm a clinical social worker, educator. Thank you. And what has to happen is someone needs to let these commissioners know that there are steps that they have to take before they can bring a single bulldozer onto that property. They have to abide by this particular act that protects the human remains and burial ground. Also, part of that includes the North Carolina Office of State Archaeology. And in that, there has to be a commissioner who is sent out to the grave sites to determine if indeed it is a burial site. And if so, it's protected. Again, you can't come in there and just, tear up the place. It means that a whole team is going to have to come in, locate the bodies, and prepare to move them somewhere else, or leave it alone. Leave them alone. Okay. So that was one thing I found. The other thing that I found too was that the Bureau of Indian Affairs has to be involved if it involves an Indian or a Indian tribe, a Native American tribe. They have to be involved. North Carolina's Indian Affairs Board has to be involved. Okay, so it's not over. I was trying to tell Chad it's not over yet. I know how some state systems and such work. Just because one group says yes, you can do it, and it was a slim margin. It was a 3-2, but they need to know that there are protocols, there are protections, there are rights that we have as descendants of the Hairstons that are on that property. Okay.
So what is it called? Article 3?
Yes, it's Chapter 70, Article 3, and the website is https://ncleg.gov. Okay.
Thanks.
Yes, you got it. You got it. And so it's not over yet. There's some other pieces of information I wanted to share with you, including there was a WDBJ7.com article, a news clipping that had to do with engraved enslaved graves to be relocated from Berry Hill. So what Berry Hill, which was another one of our plantations, a few years ago, Berry Hill decided that they wanted to have a huge mega site, but there were Black Hairstons who lived on that plantation. Eventually, what they decided to do was to move those Black slaves, or those that were Black enslaved, from Berry Hill to Oak Hill. In Sartown's case, if they can move them, if they decided that, one thing we can do is move them somewhere, they need to find a place. They can't just take a bulldozer and crush their bones and dig up the soil. They have to take a look at that. One of the things that I wanted to check with Chad on.
Can I just say that I have recently visited both Oak Hill and the burial sites. I am currently working on a book project with one of the White Hairstons, who is basically from Oak Hill.
Okay.
But she invited my brother. Well, she invited me, and I told my brother he would kill me if I didn't take him with me to these sites about 2 years ago. We are working on a book to gather this white ancestor about racial history.
Okay.
But she and I met her through some of these Hairston sites we have together, some of these the National Hairston sites we met in person at a National Hairston Clan meeting just before COVID. Just before COVID. I had never been to a National Hairston Clan reunion. But that year I decided to go that year partly because it was accessible. It wasn't Labor Day weekend. It was easy for me to get to, and she happened to go because she was promoting the idea that the Mormons would
Digitize.
Digitize. Thank you. I couldn't think of the word.
It's okay.
Digitize all the Hairston records, and we'd met many times online, but that was the first time we'd ever met in person.
Okay.
So
are they still going to digitize the records? Because I
well, sometime during COVID, this thing went null, and they weren't doing it, and now they are again going to do it. But in between time, she wrote a blog about how she had discovered who she was as a white woman who had happened to be from a family who had owned all these people. And I came across the blog.
Okay.
She and I had met other times online, but that particularly struck me. And I called her up or messaged her and said, "Aren't you going to write a book about this thing? Why wouldn't you write a book about who you are?" And she said, "Well, I'm not a writer." And okay, well, I am. I am a book writer. I am a ghostwriter. I write books. And I've written books about white people and about race. So we need to do this. So for the last 2 years, she and I have been more than 3 years probably, have been having conversations about race and the Hairstons and why we need to write about race and why we need, what things have happened in America about race. It's like Reconstruction, peonage and bondage contracts, Reconstruction. If I didn't say that before, whatever that we would agree, you know, and even the Black Panthers, the something we would agree we're going to write about um, of lynchings tomorrow, and we'll set up a Zoom contract about that, and then we get in the Zoom contract, a Zoom conversation, and we say, "Oh, remember what I said about peonage and voluntary contact? Remember when we get to the lynchings things, we need to talk about this." So the transcripts are really crazy, and they go back and forth, and they go back and forth. But in between, she and I became friends. So every now and then, even this week, she'll call me. I'll call her, you know, whatever. And she says, you know, I'm not really a writer, but she's a PR writer. So she is a writer. She knows how to write. But I am a book writer. You know, I wrote for, I worked for the New York Times for a good 12 years. I've been a journalist for 50 years, probably. So we got this whole book finished. And then I said, you know, that's not how you do that. What we really do is we need to write this book finished, and then we have to write a book proposal. But you're really supposed to write the book proposal first. And I didn't want to do that because I figured, how am I going to write a book with a white woman who used to own my entire family? And so we need to figure out how we can do this. If we can do this first, if we can get along, if we can make this make sense, if this woman makes sense to me, you know, and if she's just not crazy. So, or, you know, or not off the wall about racial things, or how we can do this. So we finished the entire manuscript, and we did well. I think, you know, we got to the point where she called me almost every week about something, and I called her almost every week. Hey, let's, you know, whatever. And so we're, you know, we got a congenial relationship going here, and we have a book proposal written here. And then I finally got to I've written several books, and I've published several books. So my book agent said, my daughter tells me you have a book proposal for me, and you haven't told me what it's about. And my husband passed recently, and they came and made a condolence visit. And so she said, you haven't told me what this book is about. And I said, that's because I haven't told her what this book is about, because it's really strange. So we sat here, we talked it through, and I'm really fascinated by that. I just like this idea, but that was before Christmas, and the book publishing industry kind of goes dead during Christmas. So I just messaged her the other day and said, when I sent it to her, finally sent it to her, finished it to her daughter, I only had like 3 sentences to finish it when her daughter told her that, and I couldn't remember even what they were, but I had to do that and say, oh, I'm clean this up, I'm clean that up. And then I sent it to her just before the holidays. So in book publishing, you don't do anything around the holidays, because they're not going to look at it. They're going to be away, etc. So I just emailed her last week and said, are you looking at it, or are you sending it anyway? When she sent it back to me, she said, this is excellent. This is just an excellent project. So I'm hoping that that's going to go somewhere. And then my white collaborator, who is, her name is Diana Roman.
Mm-hmm.
And she is a descendant of a man who owned more than any of the Hairstons ever since the Revolution. basically, and they're at Oak Hill. She's a descendant of Oak Hill. And she knows it, but but her family, basically her mother never really inherited any money. They ended up like dirt poor, almost. But she's a advertising executive, or she had been an advertising executive. So what we're hoping is that somehow this book will sell.
Well, let us know.
If anybody has any questions, okay, that's where it is. I'm waiting to hear from my agent again. I'm gonna try to hook her up again this week and see where it comes.
I
Okay, do you know
remember meeting her at.
Huh?
I remember meeting Diane at the reunion at Coolamy.
Oh, yes, I met her at Coolamy.
And she was trying. I thought she was trying to get donations or something
No,
for
what she was doing at Coolamy, not necessarily donations, but the Mormons have a long history of trying to publish some of this stuff, of digitizing some of this stuff,
right,
whatever. And at that point, she was on point to have it done. Then during COVID or something, I believe a lot of that stuff just went dormant. They weren't doing anything during the 4 or 5 years of COVID. Now they are.
What the money was about.
Huh?
I couldn't understand what the money was about.
I don't know what the money was about, but now I think they're up again and running, is my understanding from her. But I don't know that for sure.
Yeah, I remember meeting Diana. Matter of fact, I remember recording Diana when she made the announcement on the stairs at Coolamy.
Yes, you met.
Yes,
you met her there. Yes.
Yep, I remember her. Her. I didn't know what status things were.
Right.
I looked for them, but I didn't find anything. So I figured, process.
Well, it went dormant at some point during of COVID, but we were still working throughout that period, and we talk at least every other week or so. Less often than last month or so, since we've completely finished the editorial process.
Well, before I had talked to Tom Reed at Family Search to see what the status of digitizing, and he had told me that it had gone dormant. But
Yes.
I'm glad to hear that it's back on, and I'm looking forward to it being digitized so I can use it again. Because
Yeah.
I actually saw the records down at the Wilson Library, and I'd love to have them digitized because I was afraid I was going to ruin the records. I didn't really want to touch them.
Yeah. Well, I've never seen the records, but my understanding is that it's back on.
That's good to know. That's real good to know.
I'm going to email you the people's names, if you don't mind, Cousin Lela, about the data center, because there's people who are waging who are planning a lawsuit against that. Because as you were saying, it's not over yet.
No. Good. Yeah, I started to jot down the names of folks that were at the session, who may have spoken or maybe not, or if I've seen articles with, like, the professor from Greensboro, who was quite good. Just started jotting down those kind of names. Let me just add one more thing when it comes to looking at the Hairston records. I did go online recently, and again, I have time because I'm retired, but but I started to read documents. I believe that it was from Oak Hill, and it was basically, I believe it was a journal that was written or kept by Elizabeth. I'll have to look and see which one it was. But I took the time to read each page. And as I read each page, I was able to see just how industrious these plantations were. Not all plantations focused on growing the same things.
Yes.
They grew lots of different things. So
Yes.
when I read the one from Oak Hill, it told me how extremely important it was to have they would harvest at a certain time. They would shear sheep at a certain time. Like shearing the sheep would be done in the spring, and then they would do the cotton, they'd spin it,
Mm-hmm.
and then they would create the garments that were needed for all the plantations there on Oak Hill. And what blew me away was seeing the names of my ancestors as these excellent spinners. I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get that when you just read a document saying they were at this,
No.
census. They were here, they were there. But when I really dove into looking at within the journals that were kept,
Okay.
they were some outstanding spinners and sewers, and there were people who were experts at different types of machinery. The folks that came over from Africa were very skilled. That's
Right.
why when I put my information in now on Ancestry, I have had to, as we say, reframe things. In social, we call it reframing. So
Right.
I'm reframing my perspective on my ancestors.
Yes.
They weren't slaves, they were enslaved, but I'm adding on there the specific craft that they performed while they were here and human trafficked. That's the word I was looking for. They
Right.
were human trafficked.
I believe many of them were imported because of their whatever their specific skill was.
Yes.
My my husband was Gullah, and they were imported because they already knew how to grow rice.
That's right.
They knew what the heck to do with this water and rice and diseases, and
Yes.
most of the white people did not even stay near them. They went elsewhere and let them work however they wanted to work. But my family, as Hairstons, we know that most of us basically were, if we were not the house people. My particular family, I believe, were the seamstresses. Who my family was very skilled at being seamstresses, quilters, whoever, for generations. To my generation, I myself was trained as a seamstress as a teenager. I can't do it anymore, and I'm not going to. But that's what we did for for instance. But for whatever reason, my Hairston side, they all seem to be technicians. Some had technicians, car mechanics, whatever involves technology. And I don't know what kind of technology they would have learned as enslaved people, but maybe carpentry, whatever. But they made things, built things, could create stuff out of nothing. So that's who they were. That for many centuries. And my personal family, whoever they were, my parents used to say that they grew up within like a 20 square mile of my family. And then about 10 years or so ago, one of my relatives, it seems to have created a family tree of as many as 20, 40, 60,000 people in Virginia.
Mm.
And she lived in southwestern Ohio at the time I met her, and I met her a couple times at Hairston Dodson reunions. And she created a reunion about 10 years ago, maybe more, 10, 15 years ago, where we all got together in southwestern Virginia. And my brother and I went, and we realized that our parents' homes were only about 10 miles from each other, somewhere down there in southwestern Virginia. And we managed to find the grave sites of our other side, our maternal side, not our Dodson or Hairston side, in that area. And it was so frighteningly close. It's like you've realized that these people have lived within 20 miles of each other for a good 400 years.
Wow.
So they are so intermarried, so interrelated, so whatever, that there is no separation. We are the same people. And in my personal family, when they left Virginia, and they didn't leave Virginia until the early 20th century, they moved to West Virginia. And when they left West Virginia, they didn't leave till, most of them didn't leave till about the year I was born, which is 75 years ago. And then most of us moved to Western Pennsylvania, some of them to Central Ohio, that kind of area. Very, very few to Philadelphia, very few to Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh. But they're still so in close to each other. I would say they moved like they were a tribe, because they understood that they were a tribe. They were a tribe from when they left West Africa. They were a tribe when they moved to southwestern Virginia. They were a tribe when they moved to West Virginia. They were a tribe when they moved to western PA and whatever central PA Central Ohio and Detroit and all those other places. Most of my family did not go to, say, New York or Baltimore. I guess I'm finding a few people in Baltimore, but for the most part, they moved out there somewhere. And they were always in contact. To this day, it does not surprise me if somebody on my father's side of the family calls me to tell me that somebody on my mother's side of the family died.
You've got to present.
Huh?
You must present. What day can
I will present. What I will present. Because for instance, my mother's.
So maybe next. Are you free at all on in 2 Sundays? How about in 2 Sundays?
No, I don't think so, because I have a couple of other presentations coming soon. But I need to tell you all too that I'm an author. So what I'm getting ready to present will be my last book was I edited an anthology of women writing about justice for Black men, and I don't see it here. There. But that is already out. But I'm in June. I'm presenting a book called "We've Been Here Before: Why How Revolution and Rebellions have have always sustained America." So, and I wrote it with my husband, who passed before we completed the book. But that's the book that I'm gonna be presenting next. And it's about revolutions, rebellions in America, the labor movement, the women's movement, the whatever, all this, the Underground Railroad, and how we've done all this stuff to resist whatever was going on in America at the time. So I'll be doing that, but I don't know if I can do it in a couple of weeks. Partly because I have one more presentation like in a week. I have a presentation in a couple of weeks after that. But my next book is basically what I'm writing about with a white Hairston woman.
But we're fast because only because we gotta get the invite in pretty soon. Lela,
Huh?
you want to say more, Lela, real fast?
Say what?
Can we hold that for a minute because Lela might be done
Yeah.
real soon, and then because the time is going real fast.
Okay.
Yeah, and I noticed that some folks have to go. Like I said, I want to be mindful of everyone's time. The only other thing I want to say, first of all, thank you for listening to me babble. I mean, really from the seat of my pants. I will work on that other issue to see if I can do a little better next time. The other thing that I wanted to encourage you to do in your research, always look for your primary and secondary sources. Make sure you're documenting where you're finding the information. The other thing I want to encourage you to do is be sure to check out what's going on in the UK, because the UK has really dedicated a lot of time to help those who were from Africa and the Caribbean find the ships, their history. Don't just look in the United States. I mean, really branch out, look at what the UK has been doing. They've been doing some fantastic things over there, especially when it comes to Liverpool and some of the other shipyard areas. You can find a great deal of information over there. The only other thing I wanted to share is that I haven't tried this. You know me, I am an adventurer at heart. I haven't tried this. I do have the DNA from African ancestry as well as through ancestry. But what I'm learning, what I'm just learned in the last couple of weeks is that there are DNA sites that are in Africa that are testing those that are from African countries. Okay. And so one of the things that I'm thinking about investigating is sending my DNA over there to let them evaluate it and match up with those that are there, because my frustration with Ancestry has been they're not showing that I have any ties to anybody in Africa, yet I know I have at least two. Okay. I'll go with two, but if there's a way that I can send my DNA over there to, I believe there's there are two companies in Nigeria that do DNA testing. I want to see what they can come up with. I'll let you know. Stay tuned.
Can you share those companies with us?
Sure, I will. I'll look it up and I will have that available for our next week's meeting. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Good.
Cousin Lela, I have two questions.
Yeah, babe.
The first one is so Roland. You mentioned Roland?
Yes, the Rowland family.
And is that Roland?
Rowland.
Oh.
These were white Rowlands who married into the Hairston family. I believe it's either Peter's daughter or Robert's. No, it's Peter's. It's Peter's daughter. In his will, he notes that he gave particular enslaved people to Elizabeth, his daughter. And she's the one whose last name was Rowland. She married into that family.
And the Rowlands were from Maryland.
I believe they were.
Okay, I'm asking because there's an area here. There's a Roland area, but it's Roland. So I was wondering if that's the same family. Well, it actually could be.
It could be.
The,
I don't know.
That's
the
valuable
ship,
information.
huh?
That's valuable information, knowing who married into the Hairstons. Because
Yeah.
Absolutely.
they may show up as DNA matches.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yep,
And
absolutely. Because there's several family members that have piqued my curiosity. And, when if I have, time to do it, Frankie is one, whether she was part of the Blaggs or the Turnstiles, I'm curious about.
mhm.
And then basically what I'm doing is as I'm going through the records, I'm making note of who was transferred from one household to another
Yes,
household, because those are names. And
yes,
I don't know, I have several books that I usually rely on. One of the books that I got from my dad that has been absolutely priceless for me is the Cooley Plantation. I don't know if you can see that or not, but
yeah,
Cooley Plantation and its people, because
yes.
it gives the codes for finding out which plantations individuals moved from this one to that one and who was born to this one and so forth. That's valuable to me. It helps
Mhm.
me keep
Well,
track of who's.
I believe I have that one or one of the ones related to that.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's one of the ones I use. The other one is the Stories of Beaver Creek.
Oh,
That's
I did that.
that's the one written by Peter W. Hairston.
I think I have that too. But I don't.
Of course, we already talked about which book is this? This is something to build on, with
I
Bev.
have
We have
I
that.
have that. I know I have that.
Okay. And something else that I pulled upon in reading is something called History of a Dream Deferred. This particular book was written by Charles Rodenbaugh, and he basically talks about early settling in Virginia, talking about William Byrd's land in Eden. Okay.
Mhm.
And in it, in particular, the thing that perked my curiosity was a story about a visit that George Izard took out to the Hairston plantation in Sorrowtown, where he saw all these mixed race kids running around.
That's about
And
right.
yeah, and yeah. And he happens to mention there's a description. I had it on my thing. I'm sorry, I couldn't show it. But he basically describes what it was like to sit down at the dinner table and to see the wife. And then there was this, he doesn't say gorgeous, but I thought she was gorgeous. She was a woman of color with what he calls a long black mane. Okay.
Wow.
Uh-huh. And quite bosomy, he said. I said, well, okay, that must be my relative. So so yeah, that in George Izard, he actually ended up selling some of his property, his wife's property, to Robert Hairston out there. So
What was the name of that book?
this one was called History of a Dream Deferred. Yeah, William Byrd's Land of Eden. I can put it in the chat.
Right.
Written by Charles D. Rodenbaugh. And I mean, he gives a very detailed look at what was going on with Patrick Henry, the birds, what happened before leather.
Leatherwood?
Yeah, before it was settled. Yeah, it's a good piece of history, but again, I like to look at different perspectives
Right. You
that
see it
people have.
from different points of view.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely, and it did provide me with additional information. Because see, I haven't been to North Carolina, so like I said to Spencer, I don't know all the counties. And matter of fact, I was bumbling around trying to find out where Stokes was. So even though I had been there a couple times, I was just bumbling around, just trying to find my way. And I had to, again, it's been a lifelong journey to find out who I am and where I want to go.
Great. It's such a beautiful one. Such a beautiful journey.
So I hope that, yes, that's it right there, Spencer. That's it. So I hope that my prayer is that you are inspired, that you are encouraged to continue your search. My hope is that you will tell your stories. One of the things I was going to share with you tonight was about a 15-minute video that was produced by my cousins and shown at one of our Pete and Lily family reunions, which basically tells our history in terms of where we're from in Henry County and Rockingham County, and it gives a real good description of who Pete and Lily were. And again, it was done 20 years ago. I couldn't believe it was 20 years ago. But those that were in the video are no longer with us.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, my dad is in there. My auntie is in there. So many that were in there are not here with us, but we can still hear their voices. We can still feel their love. We can still have that connectedness, which is why I am a strong advocate for recording your stories. The things that we heard tonight, even with Angela. I mean, I personally want Angela to tell me a little more about the coal mines, because that's an area that I'm curious about.
Yeah, she has to do a presentation. She has to do a presentation.
I will do that. Most of my family didn't leave southwestern Virginia until the coal mines were building up. Yeah, both of my parents were born in Virginia. My father is from Henry County. My mother was from Pittsylvania County. I believe my father's family had already moved to West Virginia before he was born. My grandmother went back to Franklin County to have him. But my mother probably was 5 years old before she came to Pittsylvania County, and they lived there from. So both families moved there from like the 1920s, only until I was born, until 1951, and then they moved on north somewhere. But when I said my family had a reunion down there. My parents used to say they were born like 20 miles apart. My family had a reunion down there, and we went from the reunion to both of their birthplaces like within 10 minutes. So we said, this is only 10 miles. It's like barely. So all these people have lived here for 400 years, basically intermarrying with each other. We are all related. And then when they made the West Virginia migration, they were still intermarrying for another 40, 50 years. And when they made the Newcastle, Western Pennsylvania migration, they're still intermarrying. My nieces and nephews still intermarrying with people that are from families we knew. So that, that if I go to a funeral on my father's side of the family in that area of Western Pennsylvania, it's not unusual for people from my mother's family to predominate in the congregation, and vice versa. So, that to me it just throws me sometimes. I don't expect Aunt so-and-so to be there. I don't expect this cousin to be there, but they are. I went, one of my great aunts died in Cleveland 20 years ago. And I let my father's family know, but I didn't necessarily expect them to show up. And I get to the funeral, and all of my paternal side is there. So it's like these people, they know each other. We know each other. We are the same people, and we've been the same people since like 1600. And that's how we need to re-understand our family, is what
Exactly.
I'm trying to say.
Yes,
And I say that as a journalist, as a historian, as an author, and I've been writing about all these people for a long time.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
That's all.
I got one more question, cousin Lela.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
For the ship that Celia was on,
Yes.
what site did you go to?
Let me see.
And do you know the name, or do you know the name of it?
The name of the ship was the um Sally and Bonnie or something like that.
Okay. That's close enough.
Is that close enough? Let me.
I'm hearing
Whatever.
all these different ways of moving forward as we got different classes. I think we did a class on how you even did that. I think that would be
Yeah.
valuable to people in mass of how you were able to find your ancestor on the African ship. That would be a great class that would fill this Zoom call off the charts and probably crash us.
Right.
So that's if you don't mind. And so
I will show you what I have.
yes.
It takes a lot of work
But
to.
just like how you figured out that she came into Maryland.
Yes.
Well,
All of that.
Yeah, I can tell you more about that because again, I was fascinated with the fact that I saw that she sounded like such a strong woman who wanted it known that I'm not from here, that I'm
Yes.
from Africa,
Yes.
like a Kunta Kinte kind of a thing.
Yes.
I'm from Africa. And then a little later, I found a census where she was close to 70, late 70s, where it noted that she notes her parents were from Africa.
Okay. Okay.
Can you put
But
the
they
name?
never, but none of it tells you where in Africa, right?
No, what I would need to do is, and this is something that I can probably share with you, is that I can look at what I have determined is that the Sally and the Bonnie, or I can't think of the second name, it's two names.
Okay.
The ship was actually a smaller ship, okay? And so it did not cross the Atlantic.
Right.
It probably came from Barbados.
Wait a minute. Now we're talking about something else.
Exactly. And so I did find and I know folks need to get off, but I did find a ship document for a turnstile who went to Barbados, picked up an enslaved person, sailed back to Pocomoke on the eastern shore of Maryland.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay. And so this is looking at around 1700. I don't know if that was Frankie or not, but he is listed to have lived in Pocomoke. He still has a house that's for sale. Well, actually, it's not for sale. They took it off the market, but it's a historical place in Princess Anne now.
Wow.
So again, you have to kind of look at slave voyages as one site.
Yes, I've been
Another site, there's another site that's out of England. There's another site that is out of either Connecticut or Boston.
Okay.
And I don't have, I can certainly look and show you how I put the pieces together, and hopefully others will join in the search,
I'm so intrigued. 'Cause
Okay.
you have these matches, and it's like, all right, now why do I have a match in Dominica?
Right.
Or why does it say I have connections to Jamaica? And my thought is always, okay, there were some siblings, and one got dropped off at one place, and one got dropped off at another. But you saying that a ship came from Barbados to Maryland is a different situation.
Smaller ship. I can't think of what the name of it is. I had it on my presentation, but
No, but I get it. It's just a
yeah.
different scenario than what I ever imagined.
Yeah.
And then for them to be in Maryland, it makes me think, did she have siblings that came with her as well? Did one of her siblings stay here? No?
Not that I know of. From what I can
Okay.
tell, she was traveling alone.
Okay, because I'm in a, so I have, I mean, I'm sure like most of you, I have matches that are on both my mother's side and my father's side, but they're from different places. My mother's family's from Virginia, Northumberland County, Virginia, and Maryland, and Chesterfield, Virginia. But my father's family's from King William County, Virginia, and now Stokes County, North Carolina. So it's like, how are these people? Like, how are you all matching both of them? Um, so okay, I just appreciate you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you. It sends my
I
mind like
love you, girl. You know I love you.
and I love you too. And I thank you so much.
You're
This
welcome.
this is great. In the chat, you're gonna find some topics. If you have any more, please put on the chat. I'm sorry. This has been great. This has been great. We're working on our calendar for the upcoming sessions. So I know that we want lots of you all, everyone to share. And again, you can share it any way you do. Like today, I think Cousin Lela was actually probably a godsend because it did not work. I'll tell you why. Because I found out on other platforms we have always used PowerPoint and all these things that people that don't use those get like offended or not offended, they get scared and say, "Oh my gosh, I can't do that," and therefore they won't present. But I think in your conversation style, you showed everyone how everyone can present. So actually, it's a good thing that it did not work. I mean that sincerely. So because we want all of you guys on this call to share, even if you're just an allied family from the area, because we all connected somehow. As you was just hearing from, Christina was just saying, you opened up another dimension with the idea of the Barbados ship going to Maryland. So we all somehow connect together. We do, yes, UNC Chapel correct, Sateria. So if you don't mind sharing in the next few weeks, let me know so I can put you on the calendar. We want everyone to share. There's some in here for Cousin Angela. I put in the chat things for her to share on. She doesn't mind upcoming classes on being an author, doing your story, all those things, migration patterns from to the coal mine. So if you don't mind sharing, please, we want to hear from all of you guys. Plantations, and we also could do a work day because some people are always asking how they connect. We can do a work day. If you don't mind sharing ahead of time, we can get people who don't mind looking it up, and we can then show you how we found your ancestors back to the plantations. So again, we're here for that, all that energy.
I might need a work day.
What did you say, Angela? Christina, who was that? Just talk just now?
That was me. I might need a work day because
Yes.
I have a presentation. I can tell you what I found and how I found it, kind of. But
Yeah.
yeah, but I haven't gotten so far.
Yes.
One of the other things that I thought might be interesting is knowing how people are storing their information. How are they keeping it organized? You know what I mean? I see you, Jody. Because sometimes in the middle of working on one person, you get the information about another person, and you want to be able to put it in a place where you can find it and come back to. So I'd like to hear some other people's ideas of how they are managing their files.
Right. I got great ideas for organizing. However, I'm not organized. So
You got a concept of a plan.
right.
Me too, Christina.
And in my mind, it looks so nice and it's color coded and everything's together. But that's just not
and it's
how
going to probably stay in your mind because my mind is like that. And it's like, but I have started to put it, a lot of it is on my computer and it's not organized the way other people's are.
Yeah.
But it's all visual because I'm a visual person. So I can't just download information. So I have Hairston documents on my computer. I don't want to go through and say, well, I have this one and this and this one, but if I hear them, and I'll let you know, I have that copy of that death certificate. I got that copy of that marriage license. And I'm like, and that's just, but I have them in those folders. This is a Hairston folder. In the Hairston folder are several other folders, census records, death records, marriage records, and that's how I do it. And so I know that they're in there and they're alphabetical order. But
okay.
Did you get the Crump will that I asked you about?
I did not. I did not. Just send me something so I can find that and put this on here. I just found, thinking about Crumps, not just Crumps, but I asked Spencer about lashes. I just looked through the 1870 census again because, see, as I go along, I learn more. So I go back and go through it again, and then I get more tidbits. So my great grandmother was a Galloway. I can't find these Galloways. These Galloways are non-existent until you go through the records.
Wait, I got Galloways.
Okay, well, my great grandmother's name was Mary Galloway. Okay, so now I'm getting some questions answered because Mary Galloway was like an anomaly to me. And I'm looking at names and I can find different names over and over again. Well, now I'm finding a Samuel Galloway who was born in 1820 who lived in Rockingham County. And I'm going, okay, so I'm looking, and in his family are some Lilies. I never saw this Lily, but there it is, Lily Bell. And I'm finding these names. And Roman Galloway, who is apparently also related, Roman Galloway married a Lash.
Okay.
And I was like, and then when she passed away, he married Hairston. I'm like, okay. It's like, what? So I'm gonna figure this out eventually. I am. I do have one person, and he hasn't said anything back to me. The picture on Ancestry is a cute little picture. It's a picture of this person as a child. And if we're related, and we're related through the Galloways, because his grandmother, his great grandmother, was also a Galloway. And I can't find I can't find nothing about her. It's like I find her on one record and then she just disappears. So I'm guessing it's because she got married, but
just something to think about. My great grandmother, her name was Mary Edith Johnson. My grandfather only knew his mother's name to be Edith Johnson. So he named his daughter Edith, after his mother. So it wasn't until we started doing research that we found out her first name was actually Mary Edith. So documents may have Mary Edith or okay.
I mean, to the point where, like I said last time when I was talking, my grandmother's name was Lula. To all intents and purposes, it was Lula.
Wait, Lula.
But her name was Lula Walzer before she got married. But her name wasn't actually Lula. That's just the name she took. Her name was Louisa. They called her Lou, and then they started calling her Lula, and she called herself that all her life. And on all records except for the 1870 census and her married record, everything else says Lula. All her kids, when they got married, their mother was Lula.
I appreciate that. I have a Lula. My great one of them is Lula, and I'm thinking it has to be something else. That can't be her name. So thank you. And you said it was Louisa?
Her name was Louisa, and they called her Lou, and then she became Lula. But now about the Barbados thing. So on my father's side, my great grandmother, she must have been a trip. That much I get from all of this. Yeah. But on the 1900 census, it looked like she just tired of telling people where she was from. And so it said, where were you born? On the boat. And they wrote down, on the boat. Now, she was born, let me think about this, because probably around 1840. All right. But from what I can see, she came from the islands.
Right.
She came from the islands, and some of the connections I can find, like every generation has a Maceo. That's my uncle's name currently. Okay. Maceo Antonio. Well, I found out that all these Maceo Antonios in my family that go all the way back, like my great uncle, Maceo Antonio. Antonio Maceo was a famous general, and his mother was a slave. All right. And his father was a Cuban. And she was a slave from, and I know, and it's not coming to, but from the islands. The islands. And I'm like, well, there we go.
Yeah.
And I never knew until I, started doing this research, and I'm like, Okay, so she, instead of trying to tell people she was from whatever island, she just, I was born on the boat. Okay,
Just
that's
on the
what.
boat. Just on the
Game
boat.
over.
Just on the boat. Oh, I love it.
This is amazing. All these great stories. I love it.
Yes.
I
And
love
they
it.
all connect. They all connect.
One of
They
the
all
things,
do.
one
They
of the
all do.
things that I just did, I finally calmed myself down. And I found the ship manifest for Celia. I posted it in the chat. Okay. And you'll see the names of it. Looks like maybe 25, 30 people who were on this particular ship. I will, as y'all are continuing to talk, I'll find the name of the Sally and something another. I wrote it down. I'll find it. And
Real
I'll
fast, as you're doing this, cousin, I saw you tagging a post on Buckingham, Virginia.
Yes.
I can't recall what it was. I know because I know that cousin Dana and Tiffany have roots in that area. I just can't came to mind just now in that area. I don't know. I can't recall what it was, but I saw you in a post on Buckingham, Virginia.
Buckingham, a family that lived sort of in Belvedere. His roots are thick in Buckingham, real thick.
It's amazing.
Okay, one more question.
Yes.
You gave a book about someone coming and visiting the Hairston plantations, and he was giving a description of the people he saw. What was the name of that book again?
That's the one that's the History of a Dream Deferred.
History of a Dream Deferred. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. George Izard was his name. He's mentioned in the Charles D. Rodenbaugh. I think Spencer has listed it in the chat. Not only does this History Deferred book note it, but so does the Hairston book. It's noted in there. I think it's also noted in the stories of Beaver Creek. I found the actual document that was, I think, part of Izard's journal, where he goes and visits with, Robert Hairston.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
This is fantastic.
Was that okay, y'all? Was that okay?
Yes. Lela, where is your family basis starts where?
Basically, I'll say my immediate family, my father and grandparents. They are from an area that was Leakesville, Spray, Scalestown. It became Eden, North Carolina, probably about 1962. So we're part of Rockingham County in North Carolina. A little north of Greensboro, north of Reedsville, southwest of Danville, from what I remember.
I went to Eden with this white ancestor.
Okay.
It was before COVID. I can't remember exactly what year we went, but if COVID started in what 2020, we in 2019.
Okay.
We went to Eden and then went to some of the other places like Oak Hill and Beaver Creek and whatever. But it was my brother and I with the white ancestor whose name is Diana Roman.
Yeah.
Her father, one of her second great grandfathers was actually one of the richest Hairstons ever, owned most of the Hairstons ever, and was based at Oak Hill.
Yeah.
But we went to Oak Hill, we went to Beaver Creek, we went to what is that? The historical center there in that area, the research center. Does anybody know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, you're talking about begins with a B.
I can't think of the name of it. Oh, all right. But so we spent a day or so searching around that area and some of the cemeteries and whatever. She invited me and I said, if I don't invite my brother, he's gonna kill me.
Bassett.
when I got back. So
at Bassett.
we both of us went to college at Marshall University in West Virginia. So we had our homecoming weekend, and then met there, went down to Eden and met her that weekend, and visited some of these spots.
Yeah, it was Bassett.
Bassett, yes, thank you, Bassett.
Hey, I still got it.
Thank you. Yeah, we went to Bassett.
Well, again, thanks to everyone for a phenomenal call. We are calling you guys to do to do a class or a presentation in February and January and March and April. We'll be calling all you guys. We will ask cousin Lee.
Can I just say one more thing?
Yeah.
My not only did my brother and I go to Marshall University, but we have about a dozen other cousins who went to Marshall University, and many of us only met when we went to Marshall University because we'd never heard of each other before. And we had, and that was 50 years ago. Let me just say that I've been a graduate for more than 50 years, as has my brother. And we have established a scholarship there that is called the Dodson, Dodson, Dotson, because some of us spell it that way, Hairston, Hairston scholarship. We had at least a dozen people there when I went there, in the years that we went there, and we think we've had several other Hairston, Dodson's peoples since then, since there's that time. And my brother's suggestion was that we start the scholarship. We each give about $1,000 a year to that scholarship, and whenever somebody dies, we have all of the money go there. My husband passed recently, and we asked that some of the money go there. And Marshall actually sends people out to meet us and go to lunch with us, and keep encouraging us to do this from time to time. So if anybody else feels inclined, if anybody else has any Marshall connections, we would actually appreciate those contributions.
I know you're good friends with cousin Gina.
Gina Sterling, it is not only my good friend, but when I was in college, she lived next door to me.
Oh, wow.
She is, and we remained friends. And she, her cousin, who's the author, I don't know her. I don't think I physically met her cousin, but her cousin, who's the author, certainly I know because I'm a book editor, and I've been a book writer since then. But we've always been in contact. She's one of my best friends in the world, probably.
Good people.
So that's one of the things we met. But I have other friends from that area. But when I was at Marshall, we had at least a half a dozen Hairston cousins on campus at the time. Wow. That's how my brother and my cousin Paulette Dodson met on the dance floor there. And who are you? Well, my name is Paulette Dodson. I'm so that we've always been close, and we were all, I don't know if many people know, but that when we were there at Marshall was at the time that the plane crash happened that killed like 75 people.
On the basketball team or football team?
Of our classmates at my sophomore year, my brother's junior year, I guess Gina's junior year. I don't think that Sabrina was there yet, but a lot of us were there, and then we ended up going on a trip to commemorate a lot of the members who were killed in that crash. And including my cousin Roland Dodson, I know was on that trip. My cousin Paulette Dodson, I believe, was on that trip. I don't know if Danny was on that trip, whoever, but so that that is one of the things that has tied us together for life. And before that period, we did not necessarily participate in the same family reunions, but after that, we certainly did. Most of us came to the same family after that crash, or certainly after college. So that's who we are, and we spell our names differently. They spell their names DOTSON, but they are descendants. We are descendants of two brothers, Dodson. Mine is Obadiah, and theirs is John Lewis. And some of the descendants of John Lewis tended to start spelling their names DOTSON. We think their schools, their militaries, whoever started spelling it DOTSON. That's all we know.
That's a lot. That's a lot. Thank you. That's very impressive.
Yes, very impressive. I'm done. But so we had what I was gonna say is several years ago we started a scholarship there at the university. At my brother's suggestion, most of us contributed at least $1,000 or so a year to this scholarship. And it goes to, you can't designate it by race, but it goes to some unfortunate, I can't remember the name they call it is now, but some deprived Southern student, a student in Southern West Virginia, and mostly in the counties where our parents were coal miners.
Very impressive. Very impressive.
Absolutely.
If you look in the chat, there's some pictures of somebody you might know down there. If you look in the chat.
Yeah.
I was smiling. I was smiling as I saw your picture. It was kind of inappropriate. You're talking about loss, but then I'm looking at your picture. I'm like,
college days and your days in the media.
Yeah, look at that. That's amazing. I remember those Afro puffs.
Oh, I don't see. I see the. Oh yeah, I see some.
Look at you.
You've got to do a presentation. You've got to do a presentation. I'm going to be hounding you. There's some stories there that we want to hear.
I see.
Well, it's been a great evening. We're going to close in prayer with cousin Lela. She doesn't mind. Pastor Lela. She's a pastor. You know that. It's been a great day, and we have so many new classes. I do want to say I see one face on here. If you're on here for the first time, please let us know who you are. But I see cousin Renee is on here tonight, who's a great Hairston story. So hello, cousin Renee, and everyone who came for the first time. Again, thanks everyone.
Right.
And we will close with a prayer from cousin Lela.
Okay. Bow your heads. Father, I just thank you. I can't thank you enough for all that were on the call tonight, for nieces, for daughters, for friends, for family members, for everyone who was on this call tonight and took their time to hear a little more about who they are and how we're connected. I thank you in advance for that. I know that we're all on a mission, and that just as it takes more than one person to build a wall, Father, I thank you for everyone who is working on their trees, who is sharing their information, who is being talked to by their ancestors to make sure that they are not forgotten. And so, God, I just continue to walk with us, talk to us. Let us be your eyes, your hands, your mind, your heart. Lead us to those things that will draw us closer to you and a better understanding of how precious we are in your eyes. So, God, in the days ahead, for those that are considering to present, lay it on their heart, give them an idea of how they can feed us, because this really is a meal. It really is a meal. So, so God, we're going to close this off tonight and just give you all the glory, honor, and praise as we begin to close it down, close our eyes, close our minds, and rest totally, completely, solidly in your will and in the palm of your hand, God. Bless the Lord, oh my soul, and all that is within me blesses your holy name. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Amen. As you were praying, I'm going to ask this of Cousin Angela. I would ask, if you don't mind, on the first Sunday in February, that gives you time, which is the kickoff of Black History Month, if you don't mind presenting, I think it'd be amazing to hear your story from the Harrisons to your work in writing. That would be even if you can't, and that's something you can just do easily. I think it'd be an amazing story here, the trials or the challenges that you overcame in your life story. To do that for, if you don't mind, that's the first Sunday, and that's an easy one. That's an easy ask right there, I think. But if you don't mind doing that as our kickoff for February for Black History Month on the first Sunday in February, is that okay?
All right. Now, what's the ask again?
If you wouldn't mind, like just going from your Hairston roots to your story of how you overcame all those challenges as a female and from West Virginia to become an acclaimed writer and
Okay.
etc.
Okay.
As
All right.
our kickoff for our first series on Black History Month.
Okay.
It'd be a powerful story.
Can I add one more thing, Spencer? Can I add
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
If you look at the names that are on this list right now that are remaining, there's a name called Shauna Hairston.
Yes.
Yeah, I see.
You may not know her, but I know her real well. She is my brother's daughter. Not only that, but she's an educator. And she is teaching an AP African American history class at her school. So I'm not putting you on blast, Shauna.
Yes, put her on blast. Put her on blast,
yes,
cousin.
you did.
Put her on blast, cousin.
But I believe that there's something that you know that you can share with this group. And
I think so too.
I am just so glad you showed up because, girl, you know how much this stuff means to me. And
I do. That's why I'm here.
Well, maybe if you don't mind, cousin Shauna, I think you could do a great job. Many of us we have all this information. You could tell us, how do we connect what we have in an exciting way to the younger generations? So if you don't mind, is that okay, cousin Lela?
That's good. I like
February Sunday, week 2. How do we take all these things that we're doing and we all have this information? How can we use this in a way?
I'm so glad I got shanked for the first one. That's all I got to say.
Okay. And cousin Laura did ask in the chat if anyone's from Virginia. Yes. Thanks, cousin Lela. Thanks.
Okay, but mine is the first week in February. Is that what
yes,
ma'am.
The first Sunday. The first Sunday.
Let me just
Black History Month lineup.
All right.
So Shauna, yours might be on the 14th, honey.
Oh, I don't know. Y'all are killing me. You know I'm in it to win it right now.
I know. I know.
We can do the third. We can do the third
summer when I don't have things to do.
We can do the third. It could be a conversation just about how do you make, like, in your job, how do you get kids excited about history, and give us some tips and tools.
Or just tell us what it took for you to implement African American studies at your school.
Okay. That's easy. Yeah.
Yeah, see, that's what I mean. I'm trying to look for you now.
Yes. Yes.
See, you
Okay.
get the topic. I was just told to show up.
And if anyone else wants to, we also have room for anyone else that wants to share. We also have room. Please do. If not, we will. Now, just so I know from y'all, is it okay to do it on February 14th? So we do a break because it's Valentine's Day, and go to the 3rd? What's good? What do y'all think?
I think we should do a break.
Okay, so then we'll push cousin Sean to the February 21st.
Okay.
And we'll take a hiatus on February 14th. And it's okay that way because it's Valentine's Day, and y'all have couples or whatever, or By the now cousin Lela is a real minister, but I was ordained online, so I can get you married. Just kidding.
Cousin
But
Spencer,
again, yes.
on Valentine's Day will be 42 years since me and my husband's first date.
Wow.
Awesome.
I always celebrate. I was like,
Oh,
I can't.
We gotta do something around Hairston's and love. That'd be a great post to do. We'll do posts on that day around Hairston's and love. That'd be a great post on the page on Facebook to share your story. Yeah.
That would be.
And it can be love anyway. Any kind of love you want to show. But this has been great. I want to thank y'all again. Awesome. Have a wonderful evening and stay warm and be blessed. Until next time. We'll see you next Sunday.
Bye, everyone.
Great job, Mom.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Great job.
Thanks so much, y'all.